Good day, RK Figs here. I wanted to discuss with you the 5 main reasons why your cuttings fail. Now, I'm not talking about you root a cutting and it doesn't root at all and it fails and you can't figure out why. No, I'm not actually talking about that. I'm talking about the time that you root your cutting, you get top growth and you get roots and everything looks fine and dandy and you think you're in the home stretch. But then later on, even after leaves grow and roots show, your cutting turns around and it dies on you and you're so frustrated and you can't figure out why. Well, you see, that cutting began to die long before you even saw or realized that it's dying. And these are the 5 things that I'm going to tell you to prevent that from happening to you. But before I do that, I just wanted to say that if you're enjoying these videos, please follow my channel, like, comment, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of whenever I do put out a new video. And if you have any questions about this video, or maybe you just don't agree with something I'm saying, please don't hesitate to put it in the comments below and let's discuss it. I'm always looking for new ideas and new things. I've been doing this for quite a while, but believe me, there's always something to learn. All right, so why do cuttings fail? Well, I'm going to start off with the most obvious answer, okay? And then during the video, while I'm telling you about all these things, I'm going to give you a great tip, something that I actually recently started doing, and it's helped a lot with the success of my cuttings, okay? So the first reason why your cuttings fail is the most obvious one, which is the biggest mistake that everybody does, which is too much water, okay? Everybody out there always seems to think, oh my God, it's not enough, it's not enough. I need to add more water, and your cutting is just sitting in too moist of a soil, and it doesn't root, and then you have a problem, and you're not sure why. Well, it was because of too much water, okay? Now, the next one is very similar to too much water, but I mean it differently, and I'll explain how. Okay, and that's the cutting sitting in wet soil for too long. You see, what happens is when you begin rooting your cutting, okay, the race is on, all right? So the wet soil around the cutting is starting to cause things like mold and bacteria and all that kind of stuff that will kill your cutting, and it starts happening right away, okay? So the only chance your cutting has to survive is to quickly grow roots and grow leaves so that those roots can drink up that moisture, and the cutting will then be saved, because the leaves that are on the top and the roots that are on the bottom are actually what removes the moisture from the soil and saves your cutting, okay? So without the moisture, you're not going to get it to root, I understand. But if it sits too long in the moisture, then that can kill your cutting as well. All right, and the third one, which I kind of just touched up on, is the leaves. Sometimes you will get roots, a lot of roots. Take a look at this guy. There we go. Look at all these roots, beautiful roots. But what's happening here? No top growth, okay? Top growth is lagging. And what's going to happen is, because there's no top growth, no leaves, and no sun, obviously, because I'm growing them inside, even though I try to open the window for the ones that do have leaves, okay? So no leaves means that the sun will not hit the leaves, and the leaves will, when they get the sun, they give a signal to the roots to start soaking up that water and dry it out. So it's kind of related to the second one. So the top growth is also essential. Now, there are a lot of people that believe that top growth before the roots is very bad. And I kind of agree with that, because when you get leaves on the top and there's no roots, basically those leaves are sucking the life and health out of your cutting before it has a chance to put roots out. So definitely, you want to have the top growth. Okay, and I just wanted to show you guys something really quick here. A lot of people are hesitant with the green cuttings, and this. Take a look at this cutting. It's pretty green, but as you can see, I do have some roots growing there. So I got roots, and I even have some growth beginning at the top. All right, so that is the third one. Okay, the fourth reason is a lot of times people are rooting their cuttings indoors, and it's a cold location. Okay, so here I have actually a cold location because there's a window right there, and it's very cold where I live. So you do get a little bit of cold that comes inside. But here's what I've done. I have heat mats here underneath, heating or providing heat to these cuttings so that they can get the heat they need to grow the roots that they need. And I don't just have them being heated for nothing. I actually make sure and regulate that heat. Okay, and I got it a little bit high. Everybody always recommends 23. I have it on 24, and that's Celsius. I'll put the conversion up on the screen. So what happens is this guy regulates that heat. Okay, and there's a little thermometer here that measures the temperature, and when it detects that the temperature has gone hotter than that 24, it shuts down the heater so that it doesn't just fry these things out. Okay, so it's just keeping them warm, nice and warm, creating the right atmosphere in the soil that will give them the heat they need to sprout out those roots, and at the same time not overheat them. Okay, that is the fourth reason. Now, before I tell you the fifth reason, I told you I'm going to share with you a great tip, okay? And here's that tip. So if you look here, let's take a look at this here bag. And this is a great fig, Pentasilga. Okay, this is my Pentasilga. And this is another green cutting. And I could see that the roots are beginning to come through. What I'll do, I'll probably give it another day because I want to see a little bit more roots. But once I do see more roots, okay, I'm going to remove the elastic from the top. Okay, I've also pushed them off the heater. They no longer need the heat. Okay, and I've opened the bag, and what this is going to do is it's going to allow some of the moisture to escape from the top, and therefore it will remove too much moisture from inside the bag. And this thing, it really doesn't need that environment to get roots anymore. Look, I got roots here, I got roots there. There's an older root because you can see it's a bit darker than this new one here that's growing in. All these guys here are older. Now, I don't yet see the feeder roots on this one. I will show you what those feeder roots look like. Give me a second. All right, take a look at this. This is a Smith, okay, and it's still putting out new roots, but it does have those feeder roots. You see that big root, and then you get the little ones growing off to the side, okay, and these are the roots that supposedly are going to give the plant the nutrition that it needs so that it could continue to grow on its own strength. So that is my tip, is that when you have enough roots in the bag, open that bag, get the moisture out. You don't need that moisture anymore. The roots are there, and here we have some beautiful leaf that is going to ensure that the sun or the light hits the leaf and sends a signal down to the bottom so that this guy's roots can suck up the soil, the wetness from the soil, and give the plant the nutrients that it needs. Okay? So, finally, the fifth tip that I have. Oh, and before I tell you that, I get a lot of questions asking if it's necessary to fertilize at this point. And what I would do at this point, if you want to, you can put a very, very low concentration and just a drop of fertilizer. But I don't want to wet the soil too much, so I would wait until that dries up a little bit, and I would put just a very, very diluted amount, maybe a quarter of the recommended amount. And if you have something that's more geared towards young plants or new cuttings, I would use that, okay? And I would still use a quarter strength at this point because you don't need much more than that for the cutting, okay? So finally, the fifth tip that I have of why your cuttings fail is a lot of people take their cuttings in September, October, or November, depending on where in the world that you're located, okay? And what happens is they put them in the fridge, and a lot of people do store their cuttings in great shape, and they put them in their fridge, and those cuttings are there, and you know, they're following the instructions as they should. Some people even wax them so that it preserves it. But then they've been sitting in that fridge for all this time. And you take those cuttings and you root them, and they're already dried out, okay? And because they're already dried out, they take a very long time to root, or they don't root at all, or the mold develops on them really quickly before they have a chance to leaf, okay? And that's where my cuttings are different. I don't take cuttings in the fall. I only take cuttings when cuttings are requested. So if you go on my website and you order some cuttings, you're getting freshly cut cuttings. I usually cut them the day of or the day before I ship them out to you, okay? And I ship them on like an express. I don't really put things in the mail so that it takes a week to get there. I usually ship them overnight or 3 days at the most. And if you are interested in picking up some cuttings, or even if you want any of these newly rooted cuttings, they will be on my website. The unrooted cuttings, a lot of them are there now. Some of these are there, some are not, but will be soon. And if you need some of these bags that I've used, or even parafilm, if you just need some parafilm, all that is available on my website, including a rooting hormone that it's very hard to find, especially if you're in Canada. I have it on my website, and you can grab it. Okay, so you get your cuttings fresh, and this is where the high success rate is. I'll tell you, all these cuttings here that you see in front of you, I actually rooted 3 weeks ago. Okay, normally I root in January. This time I didn't root in January. I waited until March because I didn't feel like babysitting these cuttings during the winter. I figured it'll get warm here in a few weeks, and these guys will be ready to be up potted or go out or whatever. So I didn't want to wait. And you know what? I don't have to, because my cuttings are fresh, because I don't put my cuttings in the fridge. They're ready to be rooted anytime. And that's all I have to say for that. I'm RK Figs. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see my rooting video, I'm going to leave a link right after this and in the description of the video. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.